अन्न सुरक्षा कवच, कृषि एवं किसान कल्याण मंत्रालय, भारत सरकार।
Friends, in the earlier two episodes of BioQuest, tracing the origins of COVID-19, we had examined the hypothesis that an accidental leak from a Wuhan lab in China could have started the COVID-19 pandemic. We also saw reports based on a document written by scientists of the Chinese Communist Party in 2015, which describes SARS coronaviruses, of which COVID-19 is an example, as heralding a new era of genetic weapons. In this episode of BioQuest, we will examine in greater detail the possibility that COVID-19 was made in a Chinese lab as a biological weapon and intentionally released to wreak havoc on the world. Dr. Li Mengyan is a Chinese virologist and ophthalmologist who has blown the whistle on what she says are the true intentions and actions of the Communist Party government in China. After pursuing her medical doctor degree from Xianghya Medical College in Central South University of China, she did her PhD in ophthalmology from the Southern Medical University in China's Guangzhou province. When the COVID-19 outbreak became known in December 2019, she was researching viruses in a WHO reference lab as a postdoctoral fellow at the University of Hong Kong.
From the end of December 2019, because of the new pneumonia happened in Wuhan, my supervisor, the WHO core team member, Professor Liu Peng, secretly put me into the investigation to understand what happened in Wuhan. Because I have my medical doctor and also PhD degree from mainland China to top medical universities, and I have my unique but massive network in Chinese hospital, laboratories, and even CDC, including both military and civilians people. So I can get the first-hand information at that time immediately. So I took several days doing this kind of research and immediately tell all the things to my supervisor and another WHO core team member, Professor Malik, in my lab.
After spending days investigating the origins of SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, Dr. Yan says she reached a conclusion on the night of 16th January 2020 that left her shaken.
Until 16th January, based on all the information I got and based on my expertise and my knowledge about Chinese government, what I conclude is at that time, China government is conducting the cover-up, and WHO, because I have already reported my research finding to them from end of December 2019, but they actually joined CCP to do the cover-up together. And at that time, there were human-to-human transmission exists, and there were a lot of people suffered in Wuhan, but the government let it go. So it would lead to the terrible outbreak and even pandemic later. And also this virus, because it's coronavirus, it could generate mutants, which will lead terrible disaster later. And the most important thing is there is no animal intermediate host, and the seafood market is just a smoking screen. Is that this virus, COVID-19 virus, is a gain of function product from Chinese military labs, and which is using China military discovered and owned specific bad coronavirus. They called it CC45 and DXC21. So based on that, they get this kind of bioweapon and then purposely released it out of the lab to lead the outbreak.
Dr. Yan says soon she got in touch with a Chinese YouTuber who helped her make her conclusions public. And when the Chinese government allegedly started a witch hunt against her, she decided to flee to the US from Hong Kong.
I realized that because CCP and WHO and these experts decide to cover up, help China government to conduct these things, I have to let the world know what happened, because I'm the doctor and also I'm the scientist. I know what would happen if we don't control it in time. So I managed to find Mr. Lu De on YouTube, who is a Chinese YouTube blogger doing the news report. When he realized the importance of these things, he decided to deliver it to the world. And I'm anonymously behind it because I was in Hong Kong. If I stand out, I would definitely be disappeared immediately and no one can understand what happened. So we managed to deliver this message out on 19th January 2020. And then China government immediately has a series of prompt action against that because they know they are real insider reveal the core secret from the China government. Because I keep telling the things and update the information about COVID-19 in China and also in the academic field to Mr. Lu De from January. So until April, mid of April last year, I got the warning that I'm already targeted by the China government, and because I have done so much and which make China government very angry, and so they decided to make me disappear. So at that time, I make the decision to go to US.
In this article published in science journal Nature on 14th May 2020, Dr. Yan and her co-authors share their conclusions on how COVID-19 transmission takes place. Their conclusions were based on an experiment that they had done using golden Syrian hamsters, a rat species found in Syria. Dr. Yan writes in the article about the similarities between how COVID-19 spreads in humans and how it spreads in golden Syrian hamsters. Dr. Yan says that animal model study done by her gave away the smoking guns on the origins of COVID-19, which she covered in her 3 research papers later.
Okay, before I leave Hong Kong, I was working on an important study that is later published on the Nature magazine. I was the co-first author. We were using the Syrian golden hamster to test the transmissibility of COVID-19 virus. And that is a very good animal model, which can demonstrate the high transmissibility of COVID-19 virus. And as I said, China government, because they are lack of the knowledge of this hamster model, so before they release this virus to the neighborhood in Wuhan for their community trial, they just thought this virus cannot get high transmissibility, and then that's why later when it's out of control, China government still claim that no human-to-human transmission, and they still think it can be controlled. So this is a big mistake they made, because during making the virus, they only use the chip model, which is the which is a mouse model using human ACE2 receptor to enhance the binding of the virus to humans receptor.
On 14 September 2020, Dr. Yan's first preprint was published. In that paper, she and 3 other researchers point to what they call unusual features of the SARS-CoV-2 genome, suggesting it was modified in laboratories and had not evolved naturally. Dr. Yan says the first smoking gun is the striking similarities between the envelope protein of SARS-CoV-2 and those of bat coronavirus ZC45 and its twin-like virus ZXC21. The report explains that if SARS-CoV-2 was a naturally evolved virus, its E protein or envelope protein would have undergone changes in the genome while moving from bats to humans. However, that is not the case, and SARS-CoV-2 has the same identical E protein as ZC45 and ZXC21 viruses. Envelope protein is present in the outer layer of the virus. For the purpose of understanding, you may think of the virus envelope as human skin.
This kind of identical E protein between SARS-CoV-2 virus and Zhoushan bat coronavirus are smoking gun to show that for some purpose, China, when they make this SARS-CoV-2 based on Zhoushan bat coronavirus, they don't want to change this part. So they purposely managed to keep the identical E protein in the SARS-CoV-2 virus for their reason. And this also shows this cannot be from the nature evolution.
The first report also reasons that the furin cleavage site within the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein is unlikely to be of natural origin, and hence the result of genetic engineering and laboratory modification. Spike protein is what juts out of the virus, and the furin cleavage site within it helps the virus enter the human body easily.
They managed to add this furin cleavage site also in the S protein, which can help this virus to enter your body better. This is also the knowledge the Chinese scientists and their collaborators, no matter military people or foreign scientists, they learned for many years by studying many viruses. And they know once this one is put in, the SARS-CoV-2 will like human better. So this is another gain of functions target humans.
The report reconstructs the lab process of modification of ZC45 or ZXC21 into SARS-CoV-2. It says serial passage was done in lab animals to ensure the virus could infect human cells, and that was most probably done using a transgenic mouse with human ACE2 receptors or human cells. Serial passage is a quick and intensive process where the adaptation of the virus is accelerated. Dr. Yan also writes that in the process of manipulating ZC45 or ZXC21 to make SARS-CoV-2, China's lead coronavirus researcher, Dr. Shi Zhengli, and her longtime partner, Dr. Fang Li, left remarkable evidence of manipulation in the S protein of SARS-CoV-2. The report notes that they were used to changing SARS-like virus genome to enhance its capacity to bind to human ACE2 receptor or human cells in typical gain-of-function experiments.
There are many things, evidence left in the genome of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. When we talk about genome, actually it's like our human's fingerprint. It's easy for people to see something wrong happened, and this is unique. So when I compare the genome between the COVID-19 virus SARS-CoV-2 and the Zhoushan-Bat coronavirus, the backbone from PLA, I say that the spike protein, which is the most important part in the whole virus, was changed for over 30%. At least we have identified one is about the receptor binding things. That is basically people can think about it as a hand in the SARS-CoV-2 virus. This is a hand finger-like part, and it can catch your receptor in your body. When it catches it, then this virus like you and easily get into your body and then make more damage to you. So they have modified this finger-like part in the S protein based on their knowledge from SARS-CoV-1 in 2003 and later many studies. Then they managed to let it change to bind human receptor very well. They also use some mouse carry the human receptor, the transgenic mouse, to make it well adapted. That's why when the virus just come out in Wuhan, there is no animal like this virus as human, and they just target human very well, which cannot happen during the nature evolution.
In the second preprint published on 8 October 2020, Dr. Yan and her co-authors argue that SARS-CoV-2 is CCP's unrestricted bioweapon, surpassing the standards of a traditional bioweapon in terms of range and destructive power. The report shows a series of novel zoonotic coronaviruses published by CCP-controlled laboratories and concludes that none of those viruses exist in nature and were all fabricated just like SARS-CoV-2. Among these viruses, one can also see rat G13, the virus purportedly discovered by Batwoman Shi Zhengli and her colleagues in Mojiang mine of China's Yunnan province and said to be the closest relative of SARS-CoV-2. Dr. Yan argues that rat G13 is not a natural virus but a fabricated one, as it cannot infect horseshoe bats, contradicting the claim made by Shi Zhengli and her colleagues that the virus was detected and discovered from horseshoe bats. Dr. Yan further alleges that the Chinese strategically built a narrative connecting rat G13 with SARS-CoV-2 to divert attention from the actions of Chinese military and the real backbone of SARS-CoV-2.
Batwoman Zheng Lishi from Wuhan lab submits the fabricated virus, which she claimed as the ancestor virus for SARS-CoV-2 from the back cave. She named it as RAPJ13, and this led to a series of the academic scandals in this field later, because people are dragged to the other direction of the origin of this virus and totally miss the Chinese military part in this outbreak. And this virus, RAPJ13, this dragged people's attention to the mysterious bat cave in West China, in Yunnan. But the real fact, Zhoushan bat coronavirus is from East China, which is discovered by Chinese military.
In the third preprint published on 31st March 2021, Dr. Yan and her co-authors also point the finger at those they claim are behind the evil design to use SARS-CoV-2 as a bioweapon. They translate from Mandarin these excerpts from the Chinese People's Liberation Army's 2015 textbook titled Unnatural Origin of SARS and Genetic Weapons Based on Artificial Human Infectious Viruses, while making the point that the CCP has been secretly developing a novel bioweapon for a long time. The book describes a contemporary genetic weapon as one that would be created in a way that it is practically indistinguishable from a naturally occurring pathogen, so that the accusation of a bioweapon usage can be denied. It further says that its use is not restricted to military battles, but is also for non-military settings where it would be causing terror and gaining political and strategic advantage regionally or internationally over the enemy state.
So in this book, which is written by the General Zhou Zhongxu and the PLA senior officer, they have explained that they learned from the SARS-CoV-1, which happened in 2003 in China, and then they realized that coronavirus can be a good choice to make their non-traditional bioweapon. Why call it as non-traditional? Because people thought bioweapons should have very high death rate, and it's like the anthrax and other bacteria. It's easy to make people die like the bomb. But no, actually they want to make it different, which later I defined as unrestricted bioweapon in my report. So this kind of new bioweapon using coronavirus, it can just have the low death rate, like 2%, because then it's hidden. But it can go to the enemy's area and then later break down their medical facilities, their economics, and also later break down social orders.
The third report also claims that after SARS-CoV-2 was produced through lab experiments and gain-of-function research, it was intentionally released into the population for community testing and made to spread to other parts of the world.
I can tell people, this is definitely not a lab accident. Instead, this virus, because as I said, China government want to optimize it, and because it will be used to target humans and in the real area, so they choose to put it to the neighborhood. They thought it can be under the control, but they mean to use real Chinese people in that locations to conduct their community trials. And later, China government takes the advantage of this outbreak to release the virus purposely all over the world.
The report also alleges that CCP has been trying to mislead the world through an unrestricted scientific misinformation campaign, being carried out with the help of some scientific experts, journals, research institutions, and international organizations. Dr. Lawrence C. Selim, an MS in biology and PhD in physiology from the US, who had worked at the US Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases at Fort Frederick in Maryland and is a retired US Army Reserve colonel, echoes Dr. Yan's analysis that COVID-19 was created in a laboratory. Work on developing it took place in a number of Chinese military-controlled labs, and the virus is a product of PLA's biowarfare program. On 6th February 2020, Dr. Lawrence Selim, in this tweet, doubted the natural origin of COVID-19. Since then, he has authored several articles on the basis of his expertise and source-based information describing the structure and functioning of China's biowarfare program and the possible place and mode of origin of COVID-19. In this article, authored by him on 14th June 2021 for Citizens Commission on National Security, a US-based national security watchdog organization, Dr. Selin names the men allegedly forming the core of China's biowarfare program and those that allegedly engaged in a massive domestic and international virus collection effort for over 8 years.
China's biological warfare program has 3 levels. The first level is a secret military level. Now, the entire program is supervised by the Chinese Military Medical Academy of Sciences. And the second level, which is layered on top of this core military level, are the so-called civilian universities and civilian research centers. Now, as we all know, there really is no difference between civilian and military research in China. And I'm not saying that. This is something that was decided upon in 2016 at the Chinese Communist Party 13th five-year plan, which called for a fusion of civilian and military research. So that second level, which is layered on top of the core military level, is used as a conduit by which the military level and other CCP research labs in China reach out internationally to laboratories throughout the world, in particular in the United States. They have been sending CCP scientists and PLA scientists to the United States to gain knowledge and skills and bring them back to China. So this is a very large program which covers all the military laboratories in China, plus all the universities and research centers, of which the Wuhan Institute of Virology is one of them. And they distribute the work. For example, the collection of viruses has been done primarily by the military veterinarians who have been collecting up to, tens of thousands of different types of virus samples, both in China and internationally. And from that, they select a certain number of viruses which they look towards further development. And this work is distributed through the universities and the research institutes in China, which are supplemented by collaborative research outside of China within the international virus research community. So that is basically how they operate.
Dr. Selin claims in the same article that the People's Liberation Army's Eastern Theater Command in Nanjing played a key role in the isolation of bat coronaviruses ZC45 and ZXC21, claimed by Chinese whistleblower Dr. Li Mengyan to be the viral backbones for COVID-19. In another article for CCNS dated 8 June 2021, Dr. Selin cites a source inside China to claim that Chinese People's Liberation Army's Eastern Theater Command sent a fully formed or nearly fully formed COVID-19 virus to the Wuhan Institute of Virology for testing in the early months of 2019.
These coronaviruses that were the backbone for COVID-19 were collected by veterinarians from the Military Veterinary Institute in Changchun. And once they decided that these were viable candidates for a bioweapon, they distributed the work to other places in China. And just before the outbreak, we believe, based on information that we've gotten from inside of China, the COVID-19 virus sample was sent to Wuhan, and the Wuhan Institute of Virology was given the responsibility to test this virus, and it's believed that it was to be tested on non-human primates, in other words, monkeys. Now, there are actually more than one Wuhan Institute of Virology in Wuhan. There's the New Center, which is about 12 miles south of the center of the city, and this is where the biosafety level 4 facility is, the high containment facility. But at the time of the outbreak, they were unable to do non-human primate monkey experiments. So it is believed that these experiments were carried out in an older facility at the Wuhan University, which is only a level 3 facility, not a high containment facility. And it just so happens that the location of that animal laboratory is exactly in the area where which was the epicenter of the disease outbreak early in December. So that is one scenario, so that you could have a potential release from an experiment gone wrong. But we also have some evidence that these same people who were testing the virus for the military may have been involved in a public release of this virus, which got out of control. I think it needs to be universally accepted by everyone, that this virus did not come from nature, that it was created in a laboratory, and that the creation of COVID-19 was part of a biowarfare program.
You heard two experts speak at length on the possibility that COVID-19 is a bioweapon manufactured in Chinese labs and released in a premeditated manner to wreak havoc. While some argue that is the case, some other scientists say that the COVID-19 virus was not deliberately released but leaked accidentally from a Chinese lab. There are also those who put their weight behind the natural origin theory. There is no conclusive evidence to prove either theory. But all these angles need to be thoroughly, fairly and independently investigated to demystify the truth around the origins of SARS-CoV-2. Thanks for watching.